Hello, and thank you for joining me, Melandri Jacobs, and Chief Commercial Officer Robert Kendall in studio today, where we will delve into the benefits of data intelligence in the mining industry. In mining, collecting actionable data isn't just an asset, it's a game changer. Companies like Schauenburg Systems are leading the way in enhancing safety, agility, and productivity through real-time data analytics. But how do they turn raw data into valuable insights? And what role does Oculus play in this transformation? Robert, it's great to have you back in the studio today. So let's get started.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it and excited to be here.
Can you introduce Schauenburg Systems to our audience and tell us exactly what they are offering to the mining market?
Sure. So Schauenburg Systems is a multinational consulting business around the mining industry. They provide services, professional services to help the mines run optimally. They also provide specific products for health and safety, production, optimization, things like that. And then obviously they also have put solutions together to combine, the professional services as well as the products together.
What were the key challenges Schauenburg was facing before implementing Oculus?
So when we encountered Schauenburg Systems roughly two and a bit years ago, they'd gone the high code route to try and develop their own solution. So what that really means is they had gone and customized or custom coded pretty much all their requirements that they were getting from their customers into their smart mine solution. And then, one of the big challenges was every time they wanted to roll it out or a customer wanted to change something, it was a long time to release before they could actually build something and deploy it. So I think mainly was the high code approach was a big stumbling block for them.
So let's dig a little bit deeper into these challenges. What specific pain points or inefficiencies led Schauenburg to seek a data analytics solution?
Definitely the high code approach was tedious, time consuming. I remember one of their developers coming into the office and he would tell us that he had been spending 6 months already building a certain prototype and they weren't even nowhere near completion. So, I think they realized that if they were going to carry on with this route, it was going to be 3 to 5 years before they were actually able to release a viable product into the market. Another key component that was mentioned to us a lot was, they really spoke highly about how easy it was to integrate their different data sources into the Oculus platform. So, we essentially just hooked Oculus up into the Kafka streams and the different message queue services, and were able to stream the data directly into a data warehouse that Oculus was able to then just put the solution on top of.
And why did they choose Oculus over other global analytics solutions?
Yeah, so I think a couple of reasons, not just one. Number one, we're local, so it was easy for them to give us a call and say, we want you to come to our offices and discuss certain things with you. So we gave a face to a product. So it wasn't just, a product that you're buying on the internet and you don't actually know who are the people behind the implementation or the building of this software. So I think that was one reason. Two, our price point, I think definitely triggered them in terms of what they were looking for. Again, our customizability and the overall different features that we have in the platform tick their boxes. One of the such feature was the fact that they want to run on-premise. So the on-premise was a massive draw card towards them because a lot of their customers with the mining environment don't want their data to leave the mining site. They want the data to stay on-premise, literally at the mining location, at the venue or at the site. So I think a lot of those factors were a draw card which really counted in our favor, and that some of the other bigger, let's call it more well-known products out there just simply don't have that ability to compete with.
So Rob, tell us a bit more about the implementation process of Oculus within the Schauenburg Systems.
So I think what we then did was we deployed a strategy to say to the customer, we will run a POC with you. So we will essentially give you free access to the software. All you need to do is pay for our services and our time, and let us help you, guide you in terms of what your requirements are. And so what we did was we built the first proof of concept for them. So they paid for our time, but that was really to prove that the software can do what we said it did.
So how does Oculus integrate with the existing Schauenburg systems and infrastructure?
Schauenburg already has a Smart Mine application. They call it the Smart Mine IoT platform. So Oculus is embedded in that solution, and it is deployed along with Smart Mine in the Smart Mine cluster to their different customers when they deploy. Oculus is able to connect into the already existing data streams for their different devices, such as the gas detection devices and the collision avoidance systems. So essentially, they didn't have to change anything to pull or push data into Oculus. We just pointed our connectors to the different logs and the different streams, and the data started flowing into Oculus.
Wow. Can you share a specific example of how Oculus provided critical insights that led to better decision making?
Sure. So in one such example, in their collision avoidance systems, a lot of the data that comes in, we are able to plot on heat maps. So what that means is we can essentially track every time a vehicle goes into a stop and crawl mode. So what these dashboards then represent is hotspots at certain times of day that highlighted inefficiencies in the route planning solution that maybe showed that vehicles were slowing down or stopping, which either halted or slowed down production. And in any mine, a loss in production or production rate means a loss in revenue. So that's one such example, definitely.
And how has real-time data access improved operational efficiency?
Again, going to that type of example, obviously what we can do with Oculus is we can do these real-time monitoring or automation and alerts. So because as this data is feeding in directly, we can immediately put an alert and a notification or even an action to go and say, this pedestrian has just caused this vehicle to stop for the third time today. Send a notification to the floor or the foreman or the ground manager or the plant manager to go and actually essentially give the guy a verbal warning or speak to him or alert him. So there's different processes that can be triggered by the real-time monitoring. And then I think is something that's really key to what Oculus does for Schauenburg is this data is feeding in. So in the past, BI, or let's call it data analytics, used to be very much a past action or a past activity. Bring up your report and look at things that happened over the last month. And that's not really where we're at anymore. People want this real-time monitoring, real-time reporting, real-time analytics. So, that's what the solution really helps them with.
And in terms of cost saving, has this been realized after adopting Oculus?
Definitely, I think there's been significant cost saving for them. I think where they've saved the cost is they haven't had to go down and explore traditional other more, let's call it highly costly data analytics platforms. Number one. Number two, they've definitely saved a lot of revenue in terms of not having to custom dev this whole solution all on their own. I mean, not having to employ a team of 15 or 20 developers to go and build and customize the solution. So without a doubt, and like I said, we even gave them free access to the software. We said to them, we know what you're trying to build, so use the software, pay for our time, and that's definitely added to the cost reduction for them, for sure.
And what impact has Oculus had on compliance, reporting, and data accessibility?
So specifically in their OSS environment, with their gas detection devices, because we're now collating all this information and storing it in a proper warehouse and have quick analytics on top of it, they can at the drop of a hat get access to a specific person's log data or historic log data about exposure, etc. So if there is a injury or an incident at the mines or a fatality, and the Department of Minerals and Resources request that data, so historic log data of the individual to see what the exposure was, it's very quick for them now to access that data. So definitely, without a doubt, Oculus has optimized that compliance and the ability and the quick access to retrieve that data, for sure.
What features or functionalities does Schauenburg use most or find most valuable?
Yeah, so I think, again, that's a tough question to answer in the terms of it's not just one feature. I think it's essentially the whole Oculus product, the Oculus suite, the different features inside the product. Obviously, the ability that we have the out-of-the-box connectors, the fact that we can do the data modeling on the fly and customize the data set to whatever the requirement is. The range of different visualization features that we're able to put onto a dashboard, the enhanced filtering mechanisms, the fact that we've plugged Gen AI into Oculus to now essentially provide the Minds and Schauenburg with a virtual data analyst to also now interrogate their data and provide insights and answers to it. I think all these things are working together as one complete solution. So it's very difficult to say, this was the feature, or I could go along with heat maps, I could go along with drill downs, I could go along with the enhanced filtering measurements, the fact that they can go and export dashboards, the embedding, the on-premise, it doesn't stop. Yeah, so it's pretty much, I don't think there's one feature in the Oculus tooling that they haven't really used yet and hasn't actually encountered as a valuable add to them.
In 2023, Schauenburg Systems received the overall Oculus Lumen Award at the Client and Partner event. Why did they win this recognition?
So look, I think at that stage, Schauenburg was obviously, we wanted to recognize the fact that they trusted Oculus and they trusted the platform, but it was more important, it was actually the problems that they were solving. So, they were trying to bring disparate data sources together, large volumes of data, and essentially then trying to rapidly deploy an analytical platform, essentially a data platform or portal inside their Smart Mind solution, and then deploying that across different customers on premise. So, they were essentially doing something that technically we hadn't even done before. With the use of our software. So, and I think that's what the award really recognizes, is somebody or a business that's being innovative, dealing with complex problems, solving massive data sets or solving problems using large data sets. So it was really, it was a mutualistic relationship in the fact that we learned something and they learned a lot out of it. And that was really what the overall Lumen Award recognition is about.
And how do you see Oculus evolving with Schauenburg's future strategies?
So Schauenburg is obviously trying to be at the forefront of mine optimization, mine safety, and obviously trying to provide the best quality service to their customer. For that to happen, they have to have data, and data is actionable insights and is information collated into an output. So the mines, I wouldn't say often, but there were occasions where we could see that a lot of the times an operation is running blind. So the operation just runs because this is why someone has done something over the last 3 years or 5 years, and this is what we do. And then the reporting is an after the fact event. So you'll do a month reporting at the end of the month, but all of these things have already taken place. And production had been halted multiple times or slowed down or stopped, and revenue had been lost, and there's nothing you can do. The time has passed, it's done. So Schauenburg is really at the forefront of trying to optimize that and improve it, and then as it stops and happens on the fly, immediately alert the necessary people to improve the overall production, to improve the non-production time that mines face. And obviously what they're really at the forefront now is they are embracing what we're doing with artificial intelligence. So they're embracing the fact that they want to plug, or we're plugging into Gen AI models. They're embracing the fact that we have machine learning algorithms and are using these algorithms to start building digital twins or forecasting models for certain exposure levels for individuals at certain mines. So they're definitely a customer that we love working with. And the fact that they are so innovative in what they're willing to look at, it means that we are always going to be at the forefront with them as they're going into these mines with new solutions or new offerings. But definitely they've embraced artificial intelligence, and they know it is the key to the future at providing better solutions for their clients.
So what advice would you give other mining companies that are considering a data analytics transformation?
I would say have a look internally first at exactly what you have in your environment. Then evaluate options. I'm not saying Oculus is the best platform. I believe it is, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be here. But I think do yourself the justice, or do yourself the favor of making sure you evaluate appropriate options and understand what it is that you actually want to get out of a data analytics platform. So if you just want a reporting tool that you want to just share internally, you're most likely going to get right with some of the other platforms. But if you're looking for a platform that you can actually solve data distribution problems with, which I mean is you want to distribute your data to multiple different sources, internally, externally. If you want to have automation and monitoring on top of your data platform or your analytics platform, so as these events that shouldn't occur, you can start to action something. I think then you need to start understanding what platforms are out there for that. So I think really, first of all, dive into what you're busy working on or what you have available, evaluate what's outside there, and then understand what do you want to achieve. And then using those three metrics, then determine, okay, would potentially a Oculus platform work with us, or would we get right with one of our platform that maybe we're already licensed to use?
Thanks, Rob. That's good advice. So as we've seen today, Schauenburg Systems has successfully leveraged Oculus to drive efficiency, safety, and smarter decision-making in mining, setting new benchmarks for the industry. This is a testament to the power of intelligent analytics, where raw data is transformed into actionable intelligence that makes a real difference. To learn more about how Oculus can revolutionize your operations, visit oculus.com. Thanks for watching.